The ship that landed in silence. The sky was quiet. No wind, no birds, no sound. Only dust moved slowly across the dry ground. Jason stood at the edge of the human colony, staring at the strange shape that had landed in the open field. It was a ship, but not a human one. The metal was smooth, dark and cold. It had no markings, no windows, no lights. It had simply appeared from the sky and landed without a single sound. Alarms rang inside the colony walls. Guards with rifles rushed to the gates. Scanners buzzed, trying to understand what kind of ship it was. The computers had no answer. "Stay away from it," someone shouted. "It could be dangerous." Jason didn't move. He kept staring at the ship. Something inside him felt strange. Not fear, not panic. Something else. Something familiar. The people around him waited for something to happen. Anything. Minutes passed. The ship stayed still. Then, a small door opened at the bottom. Gasps filled the air. A figure stepped out. It was a woman, tall, with silver skin that shimmered in the sunlight. Her hair was long and black, falling down her back like a waterfall. Her eyes were large and violet, glowing faintly. Her body was thin, graceful, and clearly alien. But her walk was unsure, soft, almost human. She looked around slowly, then took a few steps forward. No one dared to speak. The guards raised their guns but didn't fire. Then she saw Jason. She stopped. Her glowing eyes locked with his. She opened her mouth. "Jason," she whispered. Jason froze. His heart jumped. How did she know his name? She walked closer. The guards shouted warnings, but she didn't stop. When she stood just a few feet away, she looked at him and spoke again. "I was your neighbor. On Earth." Everything around Jason seemed to vanish. The guards, the noise, the wind. Only her voice remained in his ears. Neighbor? His mind flashed back to a small house. A garden. A little girl with bright eyes who used to wave at him from the window. Maya. He hadn't thought about her in years. She was taken, lost, gone without a trace when they were just kids. No one ever found her. They said she ran away. Some said she died. Jason never believed it. Deep down, he always felt something was wrong. "Maya?" he said, barely able to speak. The alien girl nodded slowly. "They took me," she said. "Long ago. They changed me." "What are you?" Jason asked, stepping closer. "Still me," she said. "But also something else now." The guards surrounded them. "Step back," one shouted. "She could be a spy." "She's not a threat," Jason yelled, standing in front of her. "How do you know?" "Because I remember her," Jason said, looking at her eyes. "This is Maya." The guards didn't believe him. They moved closer with weapons raised. Maya stepped back, her hands up. "I didn't come to fight," she said. "I came to warn you." The leader of the guards, a man with a metal eye, pushed Jason aside and aimed his gun. "Tell us why you're here. Now." Maya didn't flinch. "Something is coming," she said. "I escaped to warn this colony. I need your help." The man didn't trust her. "You look like them. You talk like them. How do we know you're not leading them here?" Jason stepped in again. "We should listen to her." The man lowered his weapon slightly. "You better be right, Jason. If she lies, we all die." Jason turned to Maya. "What's coming?" Maya looked up at the sky, her face calm but sad. "A storm," she said. "A storm of fire and death, and this colony is the first target." The guards looked at each other, confused. "Who wants to attack us?" Jason asked. "The same ones who took me," Maya said. "They are hunting the last humans, and they won't stop." "Then why help us?" Maya looked into Jason's eyes. "Because you were the only one who ever saw me." For a moment, Jason didn't know what to say. His mind was racing. This was too much, too fast. But one thing was clear. She was here. She had come back. And something terrible was on its way. As the sun dipped low, the alien ship behind Maya slowly closed its door. The air grew colder. And Jason knew this was only the beginning. The girl who vanished without a trace. Jason couldn't sleep that night. He sat alone in the quiet control room, staring at the live feed of the alien ship resting outside the colony gates. The screen flickered from time to time, but Maya's image was clear in his mind. Silver skin, violet eyes, soft voice. Was your neighbor on Earth? Those words kept echoing in his head. She had vanished when they were children. One day she was there, playing in the dusty yard next to his. The next day her house was empty. Police came. Search teams looked for weeks. No one ever found a body. No sign of struggle. No goodbye. Just gone. But Jason never believed she ran away. He remembered the strange lights in the sky that night. He remembered his dog barking like mad, and he remembered something else, the way his parents acted afterward. Afraid. Quiet. Like they knew something but couldn't say it. Now she was back. But she wasn't the same. Early next morning, he found Maya waiting near the colony wall. The guards had locked her outside the main gate. She didn't complain, she just sat cross-legged on the ground watching the sunrise. Couldn't sleep either, she asked, smiling softly. Jason sat beside her. I had too many questions. I understand. How is this possible? He asked. You were just a kid. How can you still be alive? And like this? She looked up at the sky for a long moment, then whispered. They took me, not to hurt me. Not at first. They were curious. Who? A race called the Ve'ari, she said. They study life across galaxies. They came to Earth looking for someone like me. Like you? Someone alone. Someone easy to take. Someone who wouldn't be missed. Jason flinched. You were missed. Her eyes turned to him and her voice cracked. I know. I used to sit in their labs hoping someone would come. I saw your face once on a monitor, a missing child poster. You were the only one still looking. Silence fell between them. Then Maya continued. They didn't just study me, they changed me. They used my DNA. They merged it with their own. I became this. She lifted her arm, showing the silver tint to her skin, the strange patterns that glowed faintly when she touched them. But I never forgot who I was. Never forgot home. Or you. Jason felt a lump in his throat. So how did you escape? He asked. I didn't, she said. They let me go. But only because they think I belong to them now. They don't believe I'm truly human anymore. Are you? Maya looked down at her hands. I don't know. As the sun rose higher, a small crowd gathered near the walls. People were talking. Whispers. Fear. Suspicion. Jason knew what they were thinking. The same thoughts that always came when something strange appeared. Threat. Danger. Enemy. But she wasn't the enemy. Not to him. Maya, he said. What? Did you mean when you said something's coming? She turned to him slowly. They're testing a weapon, something built to remove human life from any planet, quickly and cleanly. They've used it before, on small colonies, quiet places, no survivors. Why? Because the Ve'ari fear humans, she said simply. They believe humans are unstable, too emotional, too unpredictable. They think if humans ever rise again, they will bring war to the galaxy. Jason let out a breath. They're not wrong. Maybe, Maya said. But that doesn't mean we deserve to be erased. He stared at her. Why tell us now? Why risk coming here? Her answer was soft. Because I still remember Earth. I still remember the boy who gave me his jacket when I was cold. The one who shared his flashlight during the blackout. The one who saw me. Jason didn't know what to say. His chest felt tight. Then Maya stood. They'll come in 2 days, she said. You need to be ready. Can we fight them? Not with your weapons. Then how? Maya hesitated. My ship holds something, not a weapon, a message. If we can broadcast it in time, it might delay them. Maybe even stop them. Jason nodded slowly. Then we better get started. But even as he spoke, doubt crept in. Was she telling the truth? Was this really Maya? Or was she sent here to finish what they started? Jason didn't have the answer yet. But deep inside, something told him this was only the beginning. Hunted by both sides, the next day, the colony was no longer calm. Fear had taken root in every corner, in the whispers at breakfast tables, in the tightened grips on weapons, and in the silent stares Jason received wherever he walked. The alien girl had brought danger, and now everyone believed she would bring death too. Maya was still locked outside the main gate. The guards allowed Jason to speak to her, but only for a few minutes each day. She never complained. She sat alone by the ship, her eyes scanning the stars above like she could feel something coming closer with every passing hour. That morning, Jason met her at the fence. "They're talking about you inside," he said. "Some want to hand you over to the Galactic Patrol. Others want to destroy the ship while they still can." "They're afraid," Maya said. "I understand. They think you're a trap." She turned her eyes toward him. "Am I? Are you?" She smiled faintly, then shook her head. "If I was, you'd all be dead already." Jason didn't laugh. Neither did she. That night, Jason returned with a plan. He had spent the day arguing with the colony's council, begging them to listen, showing them the recordings of Maya's warnings, trying to convince them that this wasn't just some strange visitor. It was a warning. A real one. But most of them didn't believe him. "She's one of them," the leader said. "We can't trust a single word she says." "She grew up with us," Jason shouted. "She was taken from Earth as a child. You all remember the news reports, the search teams, the missing posters. And now she's part alien," the man said coldly. "She's not one of us anymore." But Jason had one last card to play. He knew the underground systems beneath the colony. He had built them years ago. After the last raid from scavengers, he created escape routes, maintenance tunnels, and secret paths. No one used them now. No one remembered them. Except him. He left the council room, heart pounding. He was done talking. An hour later, Jason opened a small hatch behind a storage shed and dropped into the shadows below. He moved through the narrow tunnels, counting each step, each turn, until he reached the far edge, just behind the colony's outer wall. He climbed up and knocked twice on the metal fence. Maya appeared on the other side. "Is this really what you want to do?" she asked softly. "They'll never understand you, and they'll never help us. We don't have time to wait." She looked at him for a long second. "All right." Jason opened the hidden gate and pulled her inside. They disappeared into the underground world. Inside the tunnels, Maya walked silently beside him. Jason led her deep into the forgotten places of the colony. Cold stone paths, dusty old machinery, flickering lights. It felt like a place no one belonged to anymore, and yet it was the only place where they could be safe. "You said your ship carries a message," Jason asked. "How does it work?" "It's not just a message," Maya said. "It's a signal. It activates an ancient beacon, a warning system the Veeri built long ago. If we use it the right way, it will trigger a failsafe. It will make their warships pause." "Pause?" "It's not much," she admitted, "but it's better than nothing. And we only need time. Time to escape. Or time to fight." Jason stopped walking. "You still haven't told me," he said. "Why me?" Maya didn't answer right away. "Because they knew about you," she whispered. "Even back then. They had your name in their files. You were on a list." "A list for what?" "You were marked as dangerous, not because of violence, but because you always saw things others didn't. You asked too many questions. You never gave up." Jason laughed bitterly. "So curiosity makes me dangerous now?" "To them, yes," she said, "because they know that one human with enough will can change everything." Above them, chaos was rising. The council discovered Jason was missing. Cameras found the opened hatch, and then the alarm screamed. "Code red," a voice echoed. "Unauthorized movement. Possible breach." The guards moved fast. Searchlights tore across the colony, but the real danger wasn't inside. In the sky, 3 dark shapes had entered orbit. Silent, invisible to old human tech, but not to Maya. She felt it first. "They're here," she said quietly. "The hunters." "Already?" Jason asked. "They followed my ship. They always follow." Panic hit Jason's chest. "How long do we have?" "Maybe hours. Maybe less." They reached a small chamber deep underground. Inside, Jason had set up old machines, spare parts, tools, his little private lab. "Can we launch the signal from here?" he asked. Maya studied the room. "Not easily, but I can modify one of your relays." "Then let's do it." She nodded, then paused. "Jason," she said, "once I start the signal, they'll know exactly where I am. They'll come straight for me. Then we'll be ready." "No," she said. "You need to leave. Go to the hills. Take the people you trust and run." Jason shook his head. "You came back for me. I won't leave you." Maya looked at him and something in her eyes changed. Something soft. Something old. The kind of look only a childhood friend could give. "Then stay," she said. "But know this. Once the hunters arrive, there will be no more hiding. They won't stop. Not until one of us is gone." And somewhere far above them, a silent fleet began to descend, hunting what they believed was theirs. Secrets of the ship night fell like a heavy blanket over the colony. But underground, Jason and Maya worked without rest. Each second felt like stolen time, precious and quickly running out. Maya sat cross-legged on the cold floor, her fingers pulling apart wires from an old transmitter. Sparks flew as she connected, pieces that didn't belong together. Human tools weren't built for alien tech, but her hands moved with practiced skill, as if they remembered what her mind tried to forget. Jason watched her, still trying to understand the strange person she had become. She looked like a ghost from his past and a mystery from the stars all at once. "What are you building?" he finally asked. "Not building," she said quietly. "Unlocking." "Unlocking. What?" She looked up at him. "The truth." 20 minutes later, the relay blinked green. Maya stood, her face lit by the soft glow. "It's ready, but the signal can't work from here. The walls are too thick. So we go to the ship," Jason said. She nodded. Getting back to the ship meant passing through the colony again. A colony now crawling with guards, drones, and frightened people who would shoot first and ask questions never. "They'll never let us through the gate," Jason muttered. "We won't use the gate," Maya replied. They returned to the surface through a hidden vent behind the old water tanks. The air was cold, the stars above sharp and clear. 3 of those stars weren't real, Jason noticed. They were ships, enemy ones. Watching, waiting. Maya noticed too. "They haven't moved yet," she said. "They're waiting to confirm. I'm still here." "We'll give them their answer," Jason said. "Just not the one they expect." Together, they crept along the shadows, slipping past guard towers, ducking behind crates, avoiding cameras. Jason knew the paths, every crack and turn. He had helped build this place, and now he was breaking its rules for someone who wasn't even human anymore. Or maybe she was more human than anyone left. They reached the outer gate, where the alien ship still waited in the dirt like a sleeping beast. No one guarded it now. The colony feared it too much to get close. "We're here," Maya whispered. She touched the side of the ship and it opened for her with a soft hiss. The metal shifted like water, revealing a ramp that led inside. Jason hesitated. "First time on an alien ship." "It won't hurt you," Maya said. "It remembers you." That sentence made no sense. But as Jason stepped inside, the walls of the ship pulsed with soft light, and the air smelled faintly like rain on Earth. Soil. He paused. "Why does it feel familiar?" Maya smiled almost sadly. "Because it was built using memories. Mine, and others like me." Inside the ship, it felt warm. Alive. The walls were smooth and silver, covered in lines of soft light. No buttons, no screens, just motion and thought. Maya led him to a circular room deep inside. The walls suddenly shifted, becoming transparent. Floating in the air around them were images, not videos, not photos, but memories. Jason saw flashes of Maya's old neighborhood, her mother brushing her hair, her cat chasing a ball of paper. And then, himself, 10 years old, handing her a flashlight during a storm. "What is this?" he whispered. "The Vayari don't record data," she said. "They harvest it. They take memory and shape it. This ship is made from what they took from me and from other humans." "Other humans?" Jason asked. Maya nodded. "You weren't the only one they studied, but you were the only one they watched for this long." She moved her hand, and the room changed. Now Jason saw images of himself, older, working in the colony, fixing machines, walking alone. "They kept watching me?" "Yes," Maya said. "They believed you had something dangerous inside you, something they couldn't understand." "What?" "Resistance," she said. "You never gave up. You kept building, learning, questioning. They feared that. So they tried to erase me? Not yet. First they want to see if others like you still exist." Jason shook his head. "I'm not special." "You are," she said, "because you still see me, even now." Then she showed him something worse. The final memory. A field. Another. Colony. Burning. Screams. Shadows moving fast. Weapons that fired without light, without sound. And then silence. "This is what's coming," Maya said. "This is what they do when they decide a human settlement is no longer useful." Jason stared at the vision, his fists clenched. "How do we stop it?" "We don't fight them," she said. "Not yet. We send the message. The beacon will trigger something inside their network. Confusion. Delay. Maybe enough time for your people to hide or escape. And then," she hesitated, "then they'll come for me. Directly. And what will they do? They will erase everything I've ever been." Jason didn't speak for a while. The ship, the memories, the truth. It was all too much. But when he looked at Maya, standing quietly in the glowing light, he saw her as she once was. A little girl. Cold, lost, and still waiting for someone to believe her. "Then we send the message," Jason said. "Together. Together." And somewhere far above, in the silence between stars, the hunters began to move. Betrayal from within. The message was ready. Maya had finished her work inside the ship. Jason stood beside her, staring at the glowing beacon core, a sphere of light floating silently in the center of the ship's heart. It pulsed with strange energy, like a sleeping star waiting to wake. "Once I trigger it," she said, "they will hear it across the system. The Vayari network will respond immediately." "Will it stop them?" Jason asked. "It will confuse them," she said. "Maybe long enough to make a choice, run, hide, fight." Jason nodded. "Then let's do it." But just before her hand reached the core, a loud sound shook the ship. A boom. Then another. Metal screamed outside. Jason ran to the entrance and looked out. His stomach dropped. Dozens of armed men surrounded the ship. Human soldiers, colony guards, all of them with weapons pointed and eyes full of fear. One of them shouted through a speaker, "Step out now or we fire." Maya appeared beside Jason. Her voice was calm. "They found us." "How?" he whispered. She didn't answer. She didn't have to. Someone had told them. Someone Jason trusted. The ramp lowered slowly. Jason stepped out with his hands raised. "Don't shoot, she's not a threat." The commander pushed forward. A tall man with sharp eyes and a scar down his neck. His name was Colin Grimm, head of the colony's security. "You've gone too far, Jason," Grimm said. "You broke protocol, aided an unknown alien, entered a forbidden ship." "She's not unknown," Jason said. "You remember the name, Maya?" Grimm's face didn't change. "I remember a dead girl from a decade ago. She's not dead. Grim lifted his weapon. She's not human. Maya stepped forward slowly, her hands empty, her voice soft. I came to help. We don't want your help, Grim snapped. Then why haven't you killed me yet? She asked. Grim didn't answer. Instead, he gave a small hand signal. A group of soldiers stormed the ship. Maya didn't move. Jason's heart pounded. He looked around, searching the faces for someone, anyone who might help. But they were all strangers now, even the ones he once called friends. He stepped in front of Maya. You'll have to go through me. Grim looked tired. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. She's the only reason we're still alive, Jason shouted. You don't understand what's coming. What's coming is because of her. Grim turned to the crowd. Tell them, Jason. Tell them how she brought the enemy here. How the ships arrived the moment she landed, how you've been hiding her like a traitor. Jason felt the words hit like stones. He looked at the people, men and women he had worked with for years. They looked back at him like he was a stranger. Yes, he said finally. I hid her, because she was the only one telling the truth, the crowd murmured. Grim stepped closer. You still have a chance, Jason. Walk away now. Let us take her. Jason looked at Maya. Her eyes were calm. But there was something else in them now. Not fear, not sorrow, acceptance. They'll kill you, he said. I know. I won't let that happen. A shot rang out. Not from the soldiers, from the ship. One of the guards screamed. His weapon flew from his hands. Another fell back, knocked unconscious by a wave of invisible force. Maya's ship had activated a defense system, triggered by her heartbeat. Chaos broke out. The soldiers opened fire. Jason grabbed Maya's hand and pulled her back inside. The ship sealed behind them just as bullets bounced off the outer shell. Can we fly? He asked. Maya shook her head. Not far. The engines are old. But we can move. Then let's go. The ship lifted into the air, slowly, groaning. Jason could hear the stress in its bones. It wasn't built for battle anymore. Grim shouted below. Bring it down! Rockets launched. Maya raised her hands. A shield formed around the ship. A thin layer of blue light that shimmered like glass. The rockets exploded just outside it, shaking the entire hull. Where now? Jason asked. Maya pointed toward the mountains. We'll find a high place. Send the signal from there. As the ship flew, Jason turned to her. You said someone betrayed us. Who? She didn't speak for a moment. Then she said one name. Kira. Jason's chest went cold. Kira was his friend, his partner in engineering, the only one who helped him build the tunnels. The one person he thought would never turn against him. Why? He asked. Maya answered softly. Fear makes people do strange things, and promises of power make them forget their heart. They landed at the peak of a broken mountain, far from the colony. Wind howled around them. The stars above now moved. The enemy ships were descending. Maya placed the beacon on a metal platform and connected the last wire. Jason stood beside her. Are you sure this will work? He asked. No, she said, but it's the only chance we have. She touched the beacon. It lit up. A sound filled the sky. Not a noise, but a pulse, a vibration like the heartbeat of something ancient and powerful. The message was sent. Far, above, the enemy fleet paused for the first time. They waited. Her final choice. The beacon pulsed in the wind, its soft blue light rising like smoke into the night sky. It shimmered across the stars, sending a message far beyond what any human system could understand. Jason watched silently, his eyes fixed on the sky. The enemy ships, once creeping forward like shadows, had stopped. It worked, he whispered. Maya didn't speak. She was standing just a few steps away, her hand still resting on the beacon. Her face was calm, but her body trembled, a quiet, invisible shake in her shoulders and fingers. Jason turned toward her. What's wrong? She didn't meet his eyes. This signal, she said slowly, wasn't meant to be used by someone like me. It's a weapon hidden inside a message. It was built to burn out anything not fully Vayari. But you're not fully Vayari, Jason said. You're still human. Maya smiled softly. That's what makes it worse. The wind blew harder, carrying dust around them. The signal's glow began to dim, then flash brighter again, like it was searching, reaching deeper into space. Jason stepped closer. You said this would confuse them, not hurt you. I lied, she said gently. If I told you the truth, you would have stopped me. Maya. She finally looked at him. This signal, she whispered, is tied to my code, to my life. It carries my signature across the network, and the system sees me as a mistake. A mix of two species. They will erase the mistake. Jason's chest felt tight. Then shut it down. We'll find another way. Maya shook her head. There is no other way. This was always going to end with a choice. He stepped forward, grabbed her shoulders. You don't have to die. I do, she said, because they won't just kill me. If I live, they'll keep hunting me. And you, and your people. If I'm gone, the signal tells them the problem has been handled. That's not fair. I know. Jason stared at her. She looked so calm, so sure, but he could see the sadness in her eyes. We just found each other again, he said. And that's enough, she replied. You remembered me, you believed me. That's more than I ever hoped for. Suddenly a new alarm echoed across the ship's console. Maya ran to check it. Her face paled. What is it? Jason asked. They've launched a drone, she said. One of theirs. It's coming straight here. I have minutes at best. Jason clenched his fists. We fight it. No, she said. You run. Not without you. Maya touched his face gently. Her fingers were cold. You're the reason I came back. Not to save the colony. Not even to save myself, but to see the one person who never forgot me. Tears formed in his eyes. I'm not losing you again. Maya leaned forward and kissed his forehead. You won't. Not really. Maya. She turned back to the beacon and placed both hands on it. The light flared. The mountain shook. Her body began to glow, silver and blue threads of energy weaving through her skin. Jason stepped back, his heart racing. What are you doing? Sending them the only message they understand, she said. A sacrifice. Above the mountain, the enemy drone arrived. It hovered, scanned, prepared to fire. But before it could strike, the beacon surged. A wave of light exploded outward, not loud, not hot, but silent and cold, like the breath of a dying star. The drone fell. The enemy fleet blinked off their paths, confused, disconnected. In their system, Maya's life code had been erased. To them, the threat was gone, and the attack was canceled. When the light faded, Jason ran to the platform. The beacon was still glowing, but Maya was on the ground, motionless. He dropped beside her, lifting her gently into his arms. Her body felt lighter, as if something inside had already left. Maya, he whispered, voice breaking. Stay with me. Please. Her eyes opened, just a little. She looked at him, smiled weakly. You were always the one who saw me, she said. I still do. A tear rolled down her silver cheek. Then it was worth it. Her hand touched his chest. Live, she whispered, and then her hand fell. The beacon dimmed. The sky went still. For a long time, Jason didn't move. He sat there, holding her, while the stars above flickered quietly, distant, cold, and uncaring. But to him, the galaxy had changed forever. One girl, one choice, one memory that burned brighter than any beacon. The neighbor who saved humanity. The world was quiet after the light faded. No more alarms, no more weapons, No more enemies. In the sky, the signal had done what Maya promised. The Vayari ships didn't attack. They slowly backed away, fading into the blackness like shadows returning to the deep. The colony survived, but Jason didn't feel like a hero. He sat on the cold platform at the mountain's peak, holding Maya's body in his arms. Her skin had lost its glow, and the silver lines that once moved beneath it were now still. Wind whispered across the rocks, carrying silence instead of answers. He didn't cry, not at first. His heart felt too full, too heavy. Maya had come back to warn them, to save them, to give her life for the same people who had feared her, hated her, hunted her, and she had done it all for one reason. Because Jason once saw her. Because, he remembered, they buried her at the highest point of the mountain where she could always watch the stars. Jason carved her name into the rock with his own hands. He didn't care about rules or council orders. He just needed to make sure she wouldn't be forgotten again. He didn't write her full name, just one word. Maya. It was enough. The colony changed after that. The people who once feared her began to ask questions. Who was she? Why did she help? And slowly, they learned the truth. The council was forced to admit what Jason already knew. She was taken from Earth, transformed, and still found her way back, not to take revenge, but to protect. Some were ashamed, some were angry with themselves, but most were quiet and thankful. Weeks passed, the skies stayed calm, no more signs of the Vayari, no more ships. It was like the storm had passed, leaving only soft rain in its place. Jason returned to the colony, but he was different now. He didn't fix machines like before. He didn't attend council meetings. He spent most days walking along the wall or sitting by the small garden near the power hub, the same place he used to sit with Maya when they were kids, before the stars took her away. One evening, a young girl from the colony approached him. Was it true? She asked. Did you really know her? He nodded. She was your friend? He looked up at the stars. She was more than that, he said. The girl sat beside him. My mom says she saved us. Jason didn't answer right away. He was thinking of Maya's smile, the way she had looked at him when no one else was around, the way she remembered things no machine could ever store. She did, he said finally. Will they come back? The girl asked. Jason paused, then replied, Maybe, but not today. The girl nodded and left, and Jason was alone again. That night, Jason walked back to the mountain. He didn't take a ship. He didn't tell anyone. He just followed the stars. It took hours, but he didn't feel tired. He reached the place where he had buried her, and there, to his surprise, he found something glowing in the dirt. A flower. Not just any flower. It was made of light. Soft blue petals, shaped like crystal, growing from the ground where Maya's body had been laid. He knelt beside it, touched it, and for a brief second he heard something. A whisper. Not from the wind. From her. I'm still watching. Jason smiled, tears finally falling from his eyes. And I still see you, he whispered. The next day he returned to the colony with a plan. He asked for a new room to be built. Not a lab, not a station, a school. For what? They asked. For memories, he said. For the truth. And he placed the flower in the center. Years passed. The colony grew stronger. More ships came. More survivors found their way there. The mountain became a place of peace. No one touched Maya's grave. No one disturbed the flower. Some said more flowers grew there each year. No one knew how. Jason stayed. He never left, never forgot. He told every new child her story. Not with fear, not with anger, but with hope. He always ended the story the same way. She wasn't just an alien, she was my neighbor. And she was the bravest soul I've ever known. And far away, somewhere beyond time and space, a light moved quietly through the stars. Not gone,